We're back here on NFL Live. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford has been practicing this week for the first time in training camp. Stafford has been sidelined due to an aggravated disc in his back, and he just spoke to the media for the first time since returning to the field.
As far as what I've done, everything under the sun, I feel like. Obviously, our guys here have a great program, doing everything we can to try and get to feeling as good as I can. Done that, and just really everything I could possibly do. Done a ton of research, just trying to help myself out, and good thing is I feel pretty good. Last couple of days out there practicing, was able to do even a little bit more than I thought I was going to be able to do the first day, and then just been trying to stack days. Backs are sometimes, interesting things. It's not, cut and dry what's what and how you're going to feel. So I really appreciate, our team and our head coach and everybody taking a day-to-day approach with me, doing everything they can to try and help me out. And I have obviously a ton of, a huge feeling of responsibility to our team to do what's right by them, and I'm trying to do that as best I can day in and day out.
Lindsay Theory has boots on the ground. She joins us now from Rams camp. And Lindsay, what did you see from Matthew Stafford today on the practice field?
Michelle, Matthew Stafford participated in the full 1 hour and 15-minute practice. He and Sean McVay both appeared to be in very good spirits, laughing, joking around during warmups. And as you would expect, Matthew Stafford very much led his quarterback group from drill to drill, jogging across the field. He went through individuals. He went through team drills during 11-on-11. There were some misconnections. He was dealing with a pretty unrelenting pass rush, but among highlights, a deep touchdown pass to Tutu Atwell, and then a red zone touchdown pass to Davante Adams. Now, I know we just heard from Matthew Stafford there. I also asked him, with this back issue, what initially caused it? Stafford tells me that he was training, and it wasn't just one thing. It was kind of something that crept up on him over time. Sean McVay reiterating that over the last 3 days, he has been a full participant, but looking forward, Matthew Stafford really doesn't want to get too far ahead of himself. When asked if he's going to be ready to play week 1, Stafford said he's not going to answer those kind of questions, reiterating that he's taking everything day by day. Michelle.
Great info, Lindsay. Thanks so much. And Adam, what more can you tell us about how the Rams and Matthew Stafford are both handling this injury?
Listen, I think that they've been very patient, knowing that the regular season is in early September and not rushing Matthew Stafford back on the field, knowing that backs can be temperamental and those types of injuries linger, and it's not a simple thing to overcome. So I think that they've been more focused on making sure that he's ready for the start of the regular season. And right now he's certainly tracking to play in that game. And barring any sort of setback the next couple of weeks, there's the full belief within the organization that he will be ready. Is there concern over the back? Absolutely. It's a back. It's a 37-year-old quarterback. But right now, like I said, barring a setback, they do expect him to start and play in the regular season opener against the Houston Texans.
All right, Brooke, Adam saying that they're expecting Matthew Stafford to be out there week 1 if he's healthy, which is a huge caveat, obviously. What are your expectations for this Rams team?
Yeah, of course. If he's healthy, I think that this is a team that can be in the NFC title game. I really love the addition of Davante Adams. To me, that has been the missing piece that they have just lacked. They needed another guy along with Puka that could be that explosive, add to that high-flying offense that Sean McVay loves to have. I was at that game in 2018 between the Chiefs and the Rams that was just, they went toe-to-toe. Obviously, different quarterback, different guys, but it's still the McVay system. They needed to add more firepower, and I think when you add that complementary piece to what they already have in Kyren Williams, in Puka, and then looking at their defensive core, I love having Kobe Turner and Jared Verse. They have just a young group of guys. I think the sky's the limit for them. I'm expecting to see them in the title game if the back is healthy.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a big if he can stay healthy, and hopefully he can. But you mentioned the players that play on offense, the receiving core, and with the addition to Davante Adams, I look for this team. If Matthew Stafford plays the whole season, if you look at his numbers last year, he only threw 20 touchdowns last year. I see him as a 30-plus touchdown guy with all these weapons he would have. And they would be probably the favorite to win this division. The 49ers have an easier schedule. I get all that. But the way this team could play with all this firepower on offense, defenses, when they play with a lead, especially the Rams, they can get after the quarterback. That would be a big problem in the NFC West.
Well, the Rams are expecting Matthew Stafford to be out there week 1, and history's on his side because Matthew Stafford has never missed a season opener in his 16-year NFL career. Time now for some top stories. Adam, what's going on in Buffalo?
Josh Allen's not going to play in the Bills' preseason finale, Michelle, and this will mark the first time in his NFL career that Josh Allen has not taken a single snap in the preseason. The Bills close out their preseason Saturday at Tampa Bay, and they're going to give those snaps and reps to Mike White and Mitchell Trubisky, but not Josh Allen. No preseason action for him. Meanwhile, Caleb McGarry carted off the field for the Falcons yesterday. He is dealing with a leg injury that is expected to hold him out of the start of the season. Jeremy Fowler said that he's going to miss some time. My understanding is he's likely to wind up on injured reserve before coming back. It does appear to be a knee injury, and the Falcons will have more comment on this tomorrow night. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers wide receiver Chris Godwin is going to be activated off the physically unable to perform list in time for the start of the regular season, but that is to ramp up activity and to get him ready to play at some point in October. He's coming off a fractured ankle that he suffered in Week 7 against Tampa, but the Buccaneers want him out there to be able to practice and go through reps, and it's the same thing with their left tackle Tristan Wirfs, who's on a similar return-to-play timeline as Chris Godwin. Wirfs is dealing with a knee injury. He had arthroscopic surgery last month, and both he and Godwin will be kept on the Buccaneers' 53-man roster with the idea of getting them ready to play in October.
Well, still to come here on NFL Live, after an offseason full of departures and injuries, could San Francisco's Super Bowl window be closing faster than we think?
That player anymore. Okay, fine. Tomlin is 47-37-1 without Ben. That is an average of 10-7 per year with Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Russell Wilson, Mitch Trubisky, Devlin Duck Hodges, Charlie Batch, Justin Fields, Landry Jones, Mike Vick, Dennis Dixon, and Byron Leftwich at quarterback. You tell me which of those guys Rodgers is not going to outplay. Mike Tomlin always overachieves. That's not an opinion, people. It's a fact. The Steelers have gone over their win total in each of their last 5 seasons, and they do it by winning close games. In those 5 seasons, Tomlin has won 65% of his games decided by 6 points or fewer. Rodgers and the Jets were 0-7 in those games last year. He is the perfect coach for what Aaron can still be. And here's one more thing. In Pittsburgh's 3 seasons post-Big Ben, they're 17-2 in games without a turnover. I'll give you one guess. Which quarterback has the lowest interception rate in NFL history? That's right. It's Rodgers. So in closing, let me simply say I have seen this movie before. In 2009, after playing for the Jets and being left for dead, a 40-year-old Brett Favre went to Minnesota, went 12-4, and made the NFC title game. So are you telling me that history can't repeat itself? I would say don't bet against it. You were there for that Brett Favre game, or that Brett Favre season with the New York Jets. He looked just as finished, maybe even more finished than Rodgers did. He actually retired after that season and then unretired. He had a habit of doing that. Rodgers going to Pittsburgh feels very similar to me, similar circumstance. I think this team is the steal, pun intended, of the season.
No, I think you made a great case, and I'm prone to agree with you. But I think someone has to bring a little bit of realism to the conversation in that you're pointing to the Favre example because it's the lone example of something like this happening. And if we're relying on Aaron Rodgers to be the low interception Aaron Rodgers, he hasn't been that in the last 2 seasons that he's been a full starter. He's had double-digit interceptions in both of those seasons. And I think the biggest reason why I would show a little trepidation is, what does success mean for this team? It doesn't mean making the playoffs. They do that with that list of quarterbacks that you mentioned before. It means winning at least one playoff game. And that's going to be a lot harder, and you're going to need a lot more from Aaron Rodgers than just to manage the game and don't make big mistakes. He's going to have to outplay some of the best quarterbacks that we have in the game.
So, Brooke, you're there every single day. For those of you who don't know, Brooke Pryor, our Steelers reporter. So you have been there every single day from the moment that he arrived and long before that, and you've seen this relationship. I'm counting on Rodgers and Tomlin being the perfect match. What have you observed?
I'm also going to bring some realism to this conversation. What I've seen is a real connection between the two because they share a love language. two love languages, actually. It's words of affirmation and quality time. Not only does Aaron Rodgers care about having Mike Tomlin ask, hey, how's your family doing? How's this person doing that I talked about one time? Those things. Rodgers is asking for that kind of information from his teammates, stretching with different guys. But when you talk about the quality time, Rodgers is a guy that likes to hang out with his teammates to build that connection, because it's a lot easier to yell at a guy and dress a guy down for not running the right route or whatever else if you've built up trust off the field. Mike Tomlin loves going away to training camp in Latrobe. His favorite thing, I could see Rodgers this year looks comfortable in Latrobe. He's in his element. They're hanging out in dorms. He's playing video games, things like that. That quality time, I think that they are speaking each other's language, and that's a good thing for the Steelers.
You know, we talked about this earlier this morning, and D Wood, you will know this better than anybody, because Neek brought up, well, this all well and good for them to be doing great. Let's see what happens to the first sign of trouble. The first sign of trouble the New York Jets faced last year, they fired their coach. They panicked immediately. The New York Jets are the opposite of the Pittsburgh Steelers. The New York Jets have now had as many head coaches since the beginning of last season as the Steelers have had since 1969. 1969. There will be no panic at the moment that there is the first issue there. Ownership won't panic, which it did last year. Tomlin won't panic. And everyone last year was just running around like a chicken with their head cut off. This is a totally different situation in stability.
Yeah, a couple things here when you look at what, the way Rodgers was in New York and compare it to Pittsburgh. Number one, we can't even compare leadership between the two organizations. That's number one. And number two, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not asking Aaron Rodgers what Aaron Rodgers was in New York. In New York, Aaron Rodgers was asked to be the savior of an organization. They asked Aaron Rodgers to change the culture within the organization. That is not what's going to happen. You talked about in the first hour, like Mike Tomlin, he set the coach is already set. What they're asking Aaron Rodgers to do, just come in and play quarterback. Think about how big of a relief it is for a guy who's 41 years old, as accomplished as Aaron Rodgers, to just come in and like, just play quarterback. Just do that job and not be the GM, not, do all these other things that he was asked in New York.
Would you describe the quarterback play they've had in recent years as average?
Yeah.
No. It's been well below average. Hembo gave one of the numbers that didn't make it into the piece there. Their quarterback ratings, I think, were 25th, 24th, and 27th in the leagues in each of these seasons, and they made the playoffs with that. If Aaron Rodgers can be average, an average NFL quarterback, that will be a marked step forward for what they've had.
I agree with you. That's the thing, is I feel like I'm the wet blanket on here, but I don't think that I don't think they won't be better. Like, I think Aaron Rodgers will make them better. They'll win more games, at least one more game, maybe two more games than they did last year. But the problem is, because of how much that they've overachieved, they've gotten to the playoffs a lot and not done anything. That is not what they want. They won't consider the season a success if they make the playoffs.
Final word.
Yeah, I think you're right. To the Steelers, it's Super Bowl or bust, but I think a realistic success is getting out of the first weekend of the playoffs. And second of all, we got to respect Duck Hodges. The guy, he did some good things in Pittsburgh, and now he's Mr. Laney Wilson. If we could just respect what the man has done.
Those were the numbers that I was looking for. The last 3 times they went to the playoffs, their best numbers offensively put them below average, and most of the other 2 were right near the bottom of the league. Rodgers can be better than that. Much more NFL conversation as we go.